today. Not the jobs report you probably want today to be released if you are Joe Biden. Also, 20 states sue the Biden administration over transgender mandate in schools, allowing biological boys to compete against girls. And China bans non-masculine men from television. We have got a lot coming up this Friday, and it all starts right now. Hey, happy Friday. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sarah Gonzalez, today joined by my friends Sydney Watson, who is the co-host of the new program starting next week, right?
Yeah.
Called You Are Here. It is with Sydney herself and Elijah Schaefer.
Sydney, myself, as in there's two of me? All my personalities.
Yes.
We all come to play.
I was going to say it is also with Elijah Schaefer, but we're most looking forward to seeing Sydney.
Yeah,
not Elijah.
And all 50 of my personalities interacting with each other.
Yes, exactly.
Be
because
beautiful.
you are, in fact, a woman, and
yes.
we do have multiple personalities.
Also
true. Joined by Rob Eno, Blaze media critic, which I appreciate you jumping in today.
Well,
it's going to be an interesting day because it's Friday, and we're all over the place today. I would just like to warn everyone of that. Also, we do have a puppy running around that I hope makes an appearance, but he is getting a little big to put on the table.
Yeah,
he's already grown way too much.
I know, it's bizarre. I took him to the vet, so when I initially weighed him, he was, there he goes, running through. He was 12 pounds in your made-up numbers. And then when I took him back to the vet, like 3 weeks later, he's a whopping 22.
Our made up, ours are the original numbers.
No, yours are
the
nonsense.
metric system is the made up.
Oh, here we go.
The French made up.
Here we go. All right, we've got, we actually do have headlines to cover, not just dog stories, although I kind of wish it was just dog stories. So let's go over the headlines of the day. So the U.S. economy floundered last month as job growth fell sharply and missed economists' expectations by nearly 500,000 new jobs. So the economy added 235,000 jobs in August, below economists' predictions of 720,000, and a sharp drop in job growth from the previous 2 months, when the economy added 962,000 jobs in June and then 1.1 million in July. This is obviously according to the Department of Labor data that was released. Now, it is interesting because I did hear Joe Biden himself discussing this, and he blames this all on the Delta variant. And he says this is obviously the Delta variant, which is the problem here, and it will be solved once he says next week he's going to release some plans for how to tackle that. I'm just wondering, why do you wait until next week? Is the Delta variant a new thing to Joe Biden? Because it's been kind of going on for a while here.
And the new things are giving away more government money, which will make people not want to work.
Right,
I mean,
right. Are you saying that that's not going to help the economy, Rob?
Right. The extra $300 a week that's still happening in unemployment, and you not having to prove that you've looked for jobs still, may have something to do with the unemployment numbers. I don't know if it does. It may, the disincentives to work. But I mean, you see it. I mean, it's, I was at Kroger yesterday, our grocery store around here. They closed the meat counter now at like 6:30.
What?
Yeah, like the Kroger meat counter with like the good meats.
Yeah.
It was closed at 6:30 right around the corner from here. So you're starting to see it. And it's not just that, it's the supply chain is still, next up, I've got people in manufacturing that I know that said they can't get industrial gases. He basically said to stock up on toilet paper and paper towels again.
We're doing that again. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
Well,
Good
the people, I guess, who bought hordes of that at the beginning of last year, they're going to be golden. I feel like I missed the boat.
I know. Well, you did see that one guy who stocked up on everything get in trouble.
Didn't he try to resell all of it? Wasn't that the issue? Yeah, these people are bizarre. Look, I'm not an economist, so whenever we talk about these things, I just have a very rudimentary human understanding of it, where I go, generally, when you shut down businesses and the economy, generally, that doesn't really facilitate growth in the economy.
Well, it's funny because Joe Biden wants to take credit for all of the jobs that they recreated once they allowed businesses to open back up. And it's like, I mean, yeah, you had the growth because you shut everything down. What do you think was going to happen? You don't get to take credit when you told people they weren't allowed to work and then allowed them to work again.
I'm surprised though
and then
that
paid
they're
them
not.
not to.
Yeah, this is true. I'm surprised honestly that they're not blaming Trump, because usually there would be a way of blaming him for every single fiasco that goes on in the United States at this point.
Well,
so I'm waiting for that to happen. Puppy fell down. Puppy went crash.
Hey, there's a step there, Murph. You got to be careful.
He doesn't know that. He doesn't have eyes. He's a puppy. They have this like weird sensory thing when they run into everything, especially the glass windows at this studio. No, I mean.
He's like Joe Biden.
Exactly.
It's cute.
Except he's not in the basement. We're in the studio instead. No, honestly, truly, I look at all of this and I think it's so bizarre to me how we are. I feel like honestly we're living in a simulation sometimes where I don't think, and you've heard me say this time and time again, politicians don't seem to understand cause and effect. It's almost as if they legislate things, they pass mandates, they pass bizarre policies, and they go, oh, damn, why does no one have a job? Why is job growth stunted? Oh, did I do that?
Right. Do you think that it resonates with, or I should say, do you think that it is lost on the people who voted for Joe Biden? That, I mean, if you guys recall, during the election, he blamed, of course, Donald Trump. It's a very easy thing to blame Donald Trump for COVID. But he said, I have a plan to stop it. And here you see him in September giving a press conference saying, well, but the reason the economy is so bad is because of COVID. And it's like, you told all of your voters that you had a plan to solve it. And here we are in September, and that's your reason for the slow economy. Is it lost on them? Are they connecting these dots yet? Because if they did vote for Joe Biden, I have to question their intelligence just a little bit.
I don't know if they're questioning it. I would hope that they are. I mean, you're seeing Joe Biden's poll numbers drop. Another one dropped today that was 8 points down. So you have an NPR poll, and I think it's a CBS poll that came out today that has an 8-point difference. But it's just interesting to me. This whole COVID thing has been the hubris of man. We've thought that we could stop COVID. If you look at Israel right now, the most vaccinated country in the world, they have a mask mandate, and they have the highest COVID numbers that they've ever had. Their 7-day average, according to Worldometer, is over 9,000. They peaked at about 8,700 in the last wave. So,
which I feel like is not what you want when you have a vaccine.
Yeah. I have both vaccines. I've got diabetes. It was smart for me to do. Now they want me to get a third one. I'm sorry, my vaccine doesn't seem to be working.
Right.
I've got 90% of the people that I know that have gotten COVID in the past month have been vaccinated. And some of them went into the hospital. And are close to being put on ventilators even though they had the vaccine. There is no plan to stop COVID because the mitigation methods don't work. I've said it from the beginning. The way out of COVID is through COVID. Every mitigation that they stop, you're seeing it in Australia. Australia finally said, well, we can't have zero COVID. That's right, because as soon as you open up, it's going to run through your population because that's what a virus does.
Right. Yeah. Sydney, he mentioned Australia. I feel the need to give you a rebuttal.
Like, Sydney, go mad. No, I completely agree. I think that I was actually just sitting here listening going, tell me more. No, you've summed it up beautifully. At the end of the day, I think that when we talk about herd immunity, and that's become almost like a dirty word by today's standards now, I think that this is a thing, and you're precisely right when it comes to countries like Australia and New Zealand that closed their borders super early on, and then basically decided that they were going to try to achieve this zero COVID infections and deaths thing, which, that's a really nice fantasy, but that's not the reality that we live in. And I think that when they eventually do go to open their borders, in 15,000 years, they won't ever be able to let people into the country, because what are you going to do? You're going to keep sending people to quarantine facilities for the rest of their days?
It's like Native Americans and smallpox.
Yeah. And we do have a kind of an update of what's going on in Australia later in the program, but you mentioned herd immunity, and I do find it fascinating that now in 2020 and 2021, they seem to be trying to rewrite history as if herd immunity can only be achieved through vaccination and not through natural immunity. When if you look back at the whole reason for the theory of herd immunity, it was formed through natural immunity. And now all of a sudden they're like, well, herd immunity, get vaccinated. with no regard to the idea of natural immunity being superior as it always has been.
I mean, we only figured that out like 75 YBC years before COVID.
That's true. That's a great point.
And we're now like a year and we're like in year
point.
one AC after COVID.
Yeah,
and it's different. But you talk about it, right? And we've talked about Sweden over and over and over and over again. And people, when you bring up Sweden, bring up the death count and go, well, they have more deaths than people around them. I'm like, look at the Delta variant. Yeah. Look at the countries around them and look at Sweden. Sweden is not getting the new cases that all the countries around them are getting. I am convinced that at the end of this in 2055, when we finally get through this,
depressing.
The same number of people as per capita are going to be dead in every country until we reach natural herd immunity. It is the hubris of man to think that an untried before vaccine technique, mRNA vaccines seem to work, for a short period of time, but they've never been used before. And if you say that, that's misinformation. I've got the Facebook thing came right up here. Press here for COVID information.
Right, but then can you even call it a vaccine? Because the idea of a vaccine has always been that you won't get it. Not that it will just make it less severe.
Yeah, it's absolutely. And then you don't want to talk about therapeutics. And, the I words that we're not allowed to say.
Don't even get me started on. All right, we've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Bonner Wines. So you guys know if you watch this program, listen, I've been known to enjoy a glass of wine or two or five or whatever, all right? You don't need to judge me, okay? But let me tell you about the wine club that most people have never heard of before. My friends at cowgirlwine2021.com have put together the world's first extreme altitude wine club. It is one of the best kept secrets unless you watch this program, and you've got to give them a try if you have not yet. They come from these remote vineyards in Argentina. They're grown, the grapes are grown at like 9,000 feet. I've got a dog running around, and it's the cutest thing ever. And it is like the most isolated wine region in the world, and you don't think to yourself, 9,000 feet, what a difference it makes in the grapes and the taste of the wine. But I'm telling you, you will notice it as soon as you open a bottle. You're going to get these notes of blackberry, leather, smoke, dark cherry, and the prices are phenomenal for what you are getting. You are not going to get this anywhere else, all right? And you are still not going to break the bank buying them. You got to try them right now. Go to cowgirlwine2021.com. You'll get 50% off the wine, 50% off the shipping. That is half off of both the wine and the shipping. The prices are already phenomenal. You got to go try it. It is cowgirlwine2021.com. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki was questioned during yesterday's media briefing about Joe Biden. He gave this response to the new Texas heartbeat law that the Supreme Court so far has allowed to happen. Joe Biden, Roman Catholic, obviously. How can he support abortion? And Jen Psaki, the left wants to be like, oh, Jen Psaki clapped back. She's so great. She's calling people out. I just find her to be not very good at her job and also just very rude and condescending. But here is Jen Psaki getting hostile towards Owen Gents from Global Catholic Network when asking about Joe Biden's religion and how he squares that with the abortion topic. Watch.
Following up on the Texas law, why does the president support abortion when his own Catholic faith teaches abortion is morally wrong?
Well, he believes that it's a woman's right, it's a woman's body, and it's her choice.
Why does the president, who does he believe then should look out for the unborn child?
He believes that it's up to a woman to make those decisions, and up to a woman to make those decisions with her doctor. I know you've never faced those choices, nor have you ever been pregnant, but for women out there who have faced those choices, this is an incredibly difficult thing. The president belieds their rights should be respected. Go ahead. I think we got to move on.
Whoa. That is transphobic, sexist garbage. Did I just hear her say that only women can be pregnant?
I'm sorry.
Birthing people.
I've been told.
Who are you, Jen Psaki, to say only women can be pregnant? Have you not heard the news that men can be pregnant too? You lying, transphobic witch.
I mean, every time I go to the doctor, and I get an x-ray, they ask me if I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
It says right on
They
the
ask
form,
you
have you
when your
been
last
or ever
period
been
is.
pregnant?
Yeah.
They asked me that right on the form.
What?
I mean, I have been told for the past year that I can
A
get
bigot.
pregnant.
What a bigot.
I hope
a
you
bigot.
succeed if this is your objective. I
there you
wish
go.
you
There
all
you
the
go.
luck
Yeah.
in the world.
But to the point, I am a lapsed Catholic, pretty much probably agnostic now.
Yeah.
But I do know, and I am pro-life because I was in the womb of an unwed mother on the day that a bunch of people told her that she could kill me in January of 1973. So that is, and it's, to me, it's science. It's, you can't kill an eagle egg. You can't kill a bunch of other fetuses because it's illegal, but you can to a human baby. I happen to agree with the Texas law. When Roe v. Wade came out, one of the things they said, I believe, was viability. That has come down to like 23, 22, and in some cases 21 weeks now.
Definitely very different from the 1970s as far as technology.
We didn't know that there were heartbeats in babies at 6 weeks, that they were getting fully developed, that they can feel pain at a certain number of time between 6 weeks and the 21 weeks of viability. So there's a lot of things that can happen. In between there, I believe that if it's for the life of the mother, as we do for you have the right to self-defense and a bunch of other instances, if a mother is going to die by giving childbirth, then yes, I think that an abortion can be performed. That's where I am. And for but taking abortion out of this, right? For the past, since Roe v. Wade came down, we've been told that the legislature doesn't matter, the executive doesn't matter, that all that matters is what 9 unelected justices say on the Supreme Court, and if they say something, then it needs to be law. They keep saying that Roe v. Wade is the law. No, Roe v. Wade's not the law.
They also say it's a constitutional...
Right, but they say that Roe v. Wade is the law.
Right.
A law is something
It's a case precedent,
that is passed by both houses of Congress, goes to the president to be signed. What happened with Roe v. Wade is not a law. It is a court precedent. And court precedents are changed all the time. And look at the poor baker in Colorado.
Man, he keeps getting sued.
He brought it to the Supreme Court.
This is what, like the third time?
Yeah, it is.
They keep going after
Awful
him.
what they're doing to him.
Yeah, they brought it to the Supreme Court. The Alliance Defending Freedom organization brought it to the Supreme Court. They won the case, but they keep going after him.
Right.
The left doesn't stop when the Supreme Court rules against them, but they expect anybody else to.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Let me bring into the conversation here, just on this topic, the Office of Massachusetts Democratic Attorney General Maura Healey formally rejected this week a voter petition seeking to guarantee medical treatment to infants born alive after a botched abortion procedure. She says, look, this petition, it's highly ambiguous and it's impossible to determine the meaning of it all, which is weird because I feel like when you're talking about a child that is born alive after an abortion procedure, that is actually not ambiguous at all and very easy to understand that it is a baby that has been born and needs, treatment.
I suppose the thing is you're not just going to smack a baby that's been born to parents that want it on the head with a mallet once it's been born and just go, oh, well.
Right. Right.
Whatever.
Well, it's what the mom wanted. It's the mother's choice, right?
Very clearly
Not
either
gonna
murder
happen.
or infanticide, depending on who is committing the mallet smacking activity, but it's obviously not okay. And it's always, whenever we have these conversations about abortion, it's always so strange to me, the people that are in favor of late-term abortion. That's such an odd thing to me. Because at this point, not only do you have to question what kind of a person goes for like 7-8 months gestating a human, incubating a human, so to speak.
The baby's kicking, it's turning, it's moving at that point.
Yeah, they get hiccups. That they're like fully fledged little creatures that will soon be into the world, and then in a couple of years running around being a terror. But it's so odd to me how people go, no, that's perfectly fine to rip its limbs off and to basically torture an unborn child. And who carries that for that long and then suddenly goes, oh, just kidding.
Yeah.
That's such an odd thing to me. But then to then basically have a child in a position where you just go, no, we'll just let it die. That's just I don't understand humanity.
That happens with the Gosnell stuff. We know that happens. It
So
happens
odd.
around the place, around the country. I believe that's why Abby Johnson became pro-life after she ran in a Planned Parenthood clinic.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. The dog's running around with a piece of mail.
That's fine. Well, that's
Go
fine.
ahead.
But I believe that's why Abby Johnson became pro-life, is that she saw
Yes,
what happened
yes,
with late-term
yes.
abortions.
Yep.
It's why she became pro-life.
Yep.
She used to run a Planned Parenthood clinic. I know Bernadette Lyons. Bernadette Lyons is a friend of mine. She's the person that brought the petition to the Massachusetts Attorney General. She's the wife of the Massachusetts Republican Party chair, who was once one of the most conservative members of the Massachusetts State House, which you can imagine is a very lonely thing in the state of Massachusetts.
Oh, yeah, it would be.
But to people's point that talk about, well, we have to do, you have to increase adoption agencies and foster agencies if you're going to get rid of abortion. The Lyons family has put their mouth where it is. They adopted 2 boys.
Right.
That they say that as part of an Operation Rescue, she has gone in front of abortion clinics as part of Operation Rescue for years, and has found and counseled women to find people to adopt their children. She just doesn't say that you can't have this. And to Maura Healey's point. Maura Healey said that the words "born alive" are too difficult for the average voter to figure out what that means.
I don't think that's that complicated. I mean, there's a pretty big distinction between living and death. Is there not?
Either you're a complete liar, or you think your voters are just the dumbest pieces of crap ever.
Or you've gotten millions of dollars in donations from abortion, abortion,
NARAL, whoever, of course.
Or that's happened. Okay, so there's one of those 3 things.
Right,
But no, it's absolutely. You would think, like, this isn't even the heartbeat bill, right? Like, this is literally giving the people of Massachusetts, and she's obviously afraid of how the people of Massachusetts would vote on it in one of the most liberal states in the country, and what precedent that would set.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. All right, we've got more to come, but we do have to take a break. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Built Bar. By the way, Marissa, I know you're in the control room. I got my Built Puffs. I got the puffs. So those of you who you've been maybe following Built Bar for a while, the best thing about whenever you buy from Built Bar is that then you start getting the emails. And the emails come to tell you when they've got another flavor that they either is new or that they have just re-released that you have been missing so much, which I have been missing the Built Puffs. And I got an email the other day and they said, Built Puffs available for a limited time only. And I was like, I need my Built Puffs. Thank you so much for bringing them back. So you've got to buy Built Bar, mostly for the emails so that you can be in the loop on the new flavors that come out. But for those of you who have not tried them, they're a very healthy protein bar, but they taste like a candy bar. They're 180 calories or less, 4 to 5 grams of sugar, 4 to 5 net carbs. It is the most delicious thing, and you can keep on track with your diet. Really, we've been seeing so many of you guys who are sending me pictures of your orders saying, I love you, but also I hate you because I have a new addiction. You're welcome, all right? Go to built.com, use promo code NEWS15. You'll save 15% off of your order. It is promo code NEWS15 over at built.com. Earlier this week, a coalition of 20 states sued the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission and the Department of Education over the transgender mandate in schools. This is, of course, put forth by the Biden administration that allows biological boys to compete in girls' sports, and also for transgender youths to use locker room and bathroom facilities in accordance with their preferred gender identity as opposed to their biological sex. There's 20 states, so I'm not going to list them all, but they are probably the ones that you would, assume: Alabama, Arkansas, Arizona, Georgia. Weirdly, I don't see Texas in this list, which I am very disappointed about. But they are arguing that this case is about 2 federal agencies changing law, which is Congress's exclusive prerogative. It will be interesting to see how all of this plays out. Certainly, I commend these states for suing the Biden administration over it, because if nothing else, at least this should be a state's right, not just a general, rule just put forth by the Biden. It's Friday. It just short-circuited.
Okay, yeah.
You could tell. I had a Biden moment there for a second. Yeah, it was just like
that's when you're supposed to do this. There, you're supposed to go.
Look, look, fat. The thing, okay? That's all.
It gets worse.
Then you just start.
As I just turned 48 last week, it gets worse.
Well, listen, I can beat you probably on the age just in the lack of sleep that I'm still getting from my almost 1-year-old who was up about 6 hours last night. So it turns out that your brain,
Do you want to trade? I'll take
oh my gosh, yes, I'll take the dog.
The dog needs to pee every 20 seconds.
Yeah, that your brain is not firing at 100%.
You know, they say that if you get fewer than 6 hours sleep a night, you actually do irreparable damage to your brain.
Oh, well, that's good. Well, I probably have an IQ level about 5 at this point, if that's the case.
Hey, lady, you're doing better than me. I'm like minus 17. So today I'm listening to you guys and I'm going, wow, there's such smart people in the room. Oh, I wish I was smarter.
Yeah, well,
my brain is just
I ruined that. No,
that was my favorite part of the show. Everybody in the comments, let Sarah know that, this is our favorite part of the show is when your brain just short-circuits.
Well, it's like when you just go to think of a word and you're like, I don't know. I don't know. My brain's not doing it for me. I have no idea what word I'm looking for.
I go and find pictures of it. Like I can type the word, I just can't say it. And then I find like this thing. What do you call that?
Well, and in about 30 minutes, as I'm leaving the studio, I will remember the exact word that I was going to say, that I was thinking of, and it's not going to matter at all.
When your brain lets you down like that, is it not? I think they call it the tip of the tongue phenomenon.
I feel like I'm reasonably intelligent. It just short-circuited right there. But the topic at hand, before we get to the next story, what are your thoughts on the transgender issue in schools?
I think this sticks in my guts a little bit simply because I think that, and I've said this before on my own channel in my own videos about this topic, and this is why people think I'm transphobic. I don't understand, because it's predominantly women who lose out in these instances, biological women who are basically having opportunities taken from them, basically being made to be unsafe in particular instances and situations. Now, whether or not that's the totality of it, whether or not that's the constant, I don't know, but obviously women are uncomfortable with this, especially young women. And I think what's odd to me is how we sell out the rights of women for 0.5% of the population? And what's even stranger than that is then you would have to have that because of how many people are then identifying as women, and you would have 0.02% of the population, so or 0.2% of the population. So this topic is so odd to me, and I've always found it strange how we sell out the rights of the majority to acquiesce to the minority. Well, this has always been very strange to me.
I feel like it's the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Sure.
Right? And they are the ones who scream the loudest, and somehow women are like totally cool with just erasing their own existence.
I don't think women are cool with that. I think it's that
I agree with you. But totally, but they just sit back and let the other party
when you talk about it, though,
everything.
when you talk about it or you have something to say, as I've pleasantly learned, you get called transphobic. And not, you know what? I don't care anymore. So be it. If I'm transphobic, so bloody be it. Yeah, I know, and I wish people stop caring, because you know what? Pointy words are just that, pointy words.
Yes. Anyone can send a strongly worded letter to management.
Exactly.
It doesn't really matter. Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you that 15-year-old Robino would have loved this law from Joe Biden.
I bet he would have.
Yeah. I feel like a woman. I gotta use that bathroom. I gotta use the shower. I'm sorry.
Whoops.
I just do.
Yeah, that's
especially if there's people walking around as women do in the bath. We've seen it, Sarah. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Women after the gym, lady, put a shirt on. I don't need to see. I don't need to see your baby things.
That's much better than like the 70. That's much better.
I don't know what I can say on the show anymore.
It's much better than the 85-year-old guy that walks around all wrinkly.
We'll find out. All right, let me get to this before we take a break. Australia, a state in Australia, is testing a new app that would help the government track residents to ensure that they are obeying their COVID-19 orders. We mentioned Australia earlier in the program, that they had finally decided, zero COVID is actually not a great policy. It is actually not sustainable, and I guess we can't do it anymore. But that doesn't mean that they have come back to sanity, because this is the government of South Australia.
Yeah, Adelaide.
Yes, okay, thank you. So it is a trial of home quarantine SA. So you download an app on your cell phone. It features facial recognition and geolocation, and the government is gonna randomly contact you to check if you are at an approved quarantine location, and you better respond within 15 minutes and take a photo of your face. If not, the police is gonna come check up on you.
Well, I mean,
we're in 1984, guys.
I think you've had me kick off on this show so many times about Australia. This will be no exception. I don't know why anyone's surprised. We've been heading in this direction for a long time. That's why I got out of the country. I feel so sad for Australians who are participating in all of this, because what Americans don't seem to understand is that this intrinsic, inbuilt sense of liberty does not exist in Australia. Aussies, being that they are, in fact, in my opinion, some of the coolest, nicest, most wonderful people in the world, still are very much just like, she'll be right. Well, she won't be right, guys. Now you got to take a picture of your bloody face and send it to the government. So how's that working out for you?
Do you have any family in that particular?
Oh no, not in South Australia, because South Australia is not even that bad. That's what's remarkable about this. Is my family is in Victoria. Which is the Socialist Republic
really
of Victoria.
Oh.
I mean, and it's horrible. I spoke to my brother last night because I call him quite frequently now just to check in, see how they're doing, because it's very depressing for them. And he was saying to me that my mom, my brother, and my brother's fiance are all on board with moving to the US. They're done. They're like, we want out. This is not going to get any better. They see the writing on the wall, like I did 2 years ago, fam. My dad is the only one who will not move, and it's really sad listening to my dad justify why, because I think he even feels like he's watching his country just fall off the face of the planet. And I wish Aussies would get louder and more aggressive about this, because I don't think that they realize that the government does not hand down their freedoms to them.
Right.
A lot of these freedoms are intrinsic human rights that you just are born with.
Yeah. By the way, don't give up your guns to the government. Just as a...
Or just don't have a freaking list of prohibited weapons that goes on for millennia.
Right.
Mace, pepper spray, like any of this. Like, the police will protect you.
This is not working out well for you guys right now in 2021, Rob.
And you go that list, and then in the UK, they are excited because they took spoons away from people when they have the cutlery. Do you have that? Do you have that? Like the cutlery boxes, you can get rid of your dangerous cutlery, and then the UK police show a bunch of stuff, and there's a spoon. But it's the difference between being a citizen.
Someone's finally doing it.
It's the difference between being a citizen and a subject.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's actually that's a great point. Because I think people forget too that Australia is in fact, and I always make this point, that part of the reason why Australia is so jacked is because it has such a strong relationship to the United Kingdom, and we see how that's going.
Right.
And the Queen is our head of state. I mean, Australia is not an autonomous nation. It's very much entrenched in this, I hate to say it, but penal colony attitude that everyone makes fun of. But in reality, the government is still subservient in a lot of ways to the Brits.
Well, and China. So.
And China.
Yeah, and China.
Very much China, especially where I'm from. The premier, we call them premiers, not governors. He is very much in bed with China.
And the Chinese government is paying for elections in both New Zealand and Australia. They're like literally in the election process.
Yes.
And this app thing seems like a really good test run that when China does it, they can say, well, Australia's doing it too.
Did you guys see that story yesterday, speaking about Australia, of that little boy who was stopped from basically going back to his parents across the border in New South Wales? Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, little boy was effectively, he was in New South Wales, I believe, and wanted to go back to his family in Queensland, and wasn't able to go over because of COVID restrictions. So yet again, separating people, ruining families, then the government walked it back because people got pissed.
Well, this is actually a great time for us to thank our sponsor, Taser, because I don't know if you've noticed, but the world in 2021 can feel like a really unstable, dangerous place. If you watch the program, you know that on the daily, all right? But you can't live in fear. Taser is giving people the confidence to protect themselves by creating life-saving self-defense technology. Taser has a line of non-lethal self-protection devices that are small and lightweight enough to carry with you in your glove compartment or in your purse. It is powerful enough to incapacitate an attacker. So if you live in a place where they make it impossible to get a firearm, or maybe you just have a relative who they just feel uncomfortable holding a firearm, but you still want them to be protected, Taser is great for that. They're easy to use. They use the electrical charge to immobilize the attacker for up to 30 seconds. You can escape and send emergency dispatch to your GPS location. There are more than 237,000 lives that have been saved with this Taser network of devices. Start protecting yourself and your family with Taser. By the way, they are usually available without a permit in most U.S. states. You can get the Taser Pulse Plus or the Taser Strike Light at taser.com. taser.com. With promo code Y, you will save 15% over at taser.com. That is TASER.com. Promo code Y. Restrictions apply. See site for details. All right, so China is now prohibiting non-masculine men from appearing on TV, according to a new regulation. Now, this is a story where I have to tell you, I read just the headline, and obviously I know China is bad. Donald Trump, don't trust China. China is...
I'm sorry.
It was her. It was Sydney. It wasn't me.
No, you could just say I was saying as, but just in a... Ho.
Yeah.
As ho.
Yes, there we go.
Honestly, the best footage I've ever seen in my life. My friend Avi got that. He's one of the only friends the first friend that I made in politics. And when I saw that, I was like, this is going viral.
Amazing. That's one of my favorite videos ever. But
apparently that something negative happened to that guy. But
oh no.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
Not Avi, the dude who said that.
Yeah. I'd rather not know that. I'd like to believe that he just...
Happy times.
Yeah.
It's a happy day.
But so this was one of those headlines that I was like, kind of like it. I kind of respect it. China sucks, but it's a lot better than the United States, which is teaching our military and all of the institutions that are supposed to be these like masculine protectors to just be really effeminate and suck and not protect anyone. So they said broadcasters must, quote, resolutely put an end to sissy men and other abnormal aesthetics.
I'm not surprised, though. China does stuff like this all the time.
Obviously, right. And obviously it shouldn't be like a government regulation, but there is something to be said for China saying our young boys are not going to play video games, right? We're going to put a limit to that, and we're going to make sure that they have role models on television that are masculine. And I mean, they're creating a super force right here. And the United States is over here like, well, why can't men wear dresses? I'm just saying.
Why do you hate Queer Eye for the Straight Guys so much? Why? But I mean, and it's funny that people are like, oh, that's great, they're not letting them play video games. I mean, the reason they can only play 3 hours of video games is so they can go dig in the lithium mines and make their sneakers.
Right.
And those other things that they're making them do, right? I mean, that's why they can't play
no,
video. It's like,
the government
you have not
but
been a good enough slave as a
5-year-old.
As a 5-year-old, you must go out and earn your keep for the socialist kingdom.
Yeah.
Obviously
not what you want.
Right.
But there is something to be said for, the idea that you want your young men to grow up, being masculine, being the men that they were created to be. I will say that. So, I mean, I'm not a China apologist, but...
I think it's odd looking at it from an objective standpoint from a Western country where our values are a little different to China and many of the... a little bit. What's funny to me, though, is that, I mean, I don't necessarily know how I feel about mandating that you have to only have masculine people on television.
I mean, you shouldn't do that.
But this being said, why is it a problem to put masculinity at the forefront? Have we not...
It's toxic.
Well,
it's toxic.
To who? Because I'm pretty sure
everyone.
I have so many inappropriate things to say on the show. I'm just gonna.
Okay.
Masculinity is my favorite thing in the world, especially in the more aggressive forms. I'm about that life.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Me too.
Yes.
That's why I'm saying, like, I'm like,
compensate
I don't
for what I
want to
can't
respect China, but I'm kind of like, I get it.
I mean, I think part of the problem is that you have, basically in the West, what we've done is we've basically said, be anything you want to be, which is perfectly fine. But then we've taken it a step too far. We've gone a bridge too far where it's, now if you want to, like you said, pop on a dress, which whatever, like you do you. But this is not basically facilitating the growth of men. I think that part of the problem, people say this all the time, it's a broken record type situation. The problem in modern society is not, too much masculinity, but rather the lack of it. Right, or the fact that we, I nearly said I'm not allowed to swear on the show. The fact that we crap on it when man is obviously masculine. So China obviously is putting its best foot forward to be like, okay, sons, let's not be babies.
Speaking of effeminate men, the program would just like to wish Brian Stelter a very happy 36th birthday.
He's 36?
That's all he is. Yeah, like he looks. You said 50. You said on Twitter 55. I was like, you don't look a day under 50.
He's 36.
The first time I heard, this was 2 years ago, and I heard when he was 34, and I read that Brian Stelter was 34 years old. I could not believe it. I thought it was a lie. Look at him. He does not look a day over 55.
He's 12 years younger than me.
He looks like
incredible.
the top of a pencil when you were the bit you were raised with.
That's so crazy.
No, he's in my like age dating bracket. What the heck is happening?
Isn't that mind blowing?
If that man asked me on a date, look, I don't find him attractive, and I don't even have a problem with men that don't have any hair, but I'd be like, oh God, oh God.
I don't date
men. He actually has a very attractive wife, which is amazing.
Wow, yes. I'm shocked. I mean,
is that
very attractive.
Yeah, there you go. For everyone who
or potentially she might be like functionally disabled. We don't know. It's a mystery.
That's a great time to take a break. We'll be right back. Isn't that crazy? All right, it's Friday, which means instead of telling you to go download the podcast and subscribe, rate, and review, which you also should do, I'm just saying, we do Friday hate mailbag now. So
yes, I love hate mail. Read the worst ones. Go on, let's go.
My producer pulls some, and I get to read them. Which today there's one. Who knows what they were responding to? But what do you do? This is to me. When you have a big, long, ugly horse face and a huge mouth with gaping, huge horse teeth, can you afford plastic surgery, please? Which I just would like to say for the record. You guys need to make up your mind. Have I already had the plastic surgery, or do I need it? Or maybe both. Maybe it's just both. Maybe they just did a horrible job.
Obviously, you take horse dewormer.
That's obviously
it's the ivermectin. It's all the ivermectin I took because I'm a Trump supporter.
My face on your face, and then we'll meld, and it'll be beautiful.
I love it. I love it. And then, of course, there's a good old Alex Carl who said, "Holy S, you're dumb, but damn, you're hot." Guess that's American values. Good stuff. Thank you, I think. I don't know. But thanks to you guys for being here.
I like that the internet can make up its mind.